Good morning, everybody, or good whatever time of day you're listening to this at. It is morning for me. It is 9 a.m, which is not even early morning, but I have not yet ventured down to the kitchen to get my morning cup of tea, so I am quite tired. So I'm going to do my makeup while I film this episode, so if you hear some background noises, some clinking or whatever, that's what it is. I'm just going to try and do it in an attempt to help me wake up and just get ready for the day. But welcome to this week's episode. This episode is coming out on a Thursday. Basically, I'm really lazy and I just left it to the last minute again. And so I asked on my Instagram if everyone would rather the episode come out today on the Wednesday, which is the day I'm recording, which is the normal day. Normally an episode would be coming out in 3 minutes time, but like I said, I'm lazy and I've only just got around to doing this now. So I just asked if they'd rather the episode come out a couple hours late or just normal 9 a.m. time, but the next day on a Thursday. And everyone voted for the Thursday. It was 100% vote on my Instagram polls. So that's what we're doing. So first of all, if you would have rather it come out early on the Wednesday and you don't follow the Instagram, go and follow it, because that's where you can help make these executive choices. But also, if you prefer Thursday as the podcast day, please do let me know. Maybe I'll do another Instagram poll to see if that's the case, or you can just message me and let me know, because it's probably a better day for me in terms of uni. There are a couple Wednesdays where I have to be on campus I have to leave here at 9:30, 10. So if things go wrong with the podcast, that can be quite difficult. Like if I need time to make sure that everything's gone smoothly, and then I'm also having to rush up to go to a seminar. So Thursday might be a better day for me. So if you'd prefer a Thursday, or if you'd prefer any day, to be honest, let me know. Because I actually do think that Wednesday is just the worst day of the week for me at the moment to be doing these episodes. I mean, I don't normally record them on a Wednesday, but they go out on a Wednesday, and it can take half an hour to an hour to make sure that it's all gone on to all the different platforms, onto YouTube, to post about it and just be like, yeah, there's a new episode, woohoo. So yeah, basically just let me know. Cool. So this episode is going to be about Halloween. Because it's spooky season. Currently, today is it's not going to tell me. I think it's the 28th of October. So we're a few days out from Halloween. So I thought I would do an episode on Halloween. And I've thought that basically there's going to be some history in it, because for anyone who doesn't know, I am a history student. And studying at the University of Exeter, I do ancient history and history. And when I was in A-level history, one of the modules that we did in year 13 was witchcraft in the 16th and 17th century in Europe. So I thought, hey, witches are Halloweeny. Witches were also stereotypically women. Let's talk a little bit about witches. Let's get into some of the history of it. Not massively, just a couple facts that you might not have known, because I was talking to my mum about it the other day, and then I thought, well, that's really interesting. I'm going to tell people about this. And then just kind of Halloween today, and some, not opinions on it, but, just the culture of Halloween parties and dressing up and that fun stuff. Speaking of, before we properly get into it, first of all, just what is everyone doing for Halloween this year? Because I think I'm just going to have a house party, by which I mean me and the 2-3 housemates that are in my house at the moment. I'm just going to put some music on. It's Saturday, so we'll watch some Strictly. Because obviously you can't do anything for Halloween this year, so just, I know Halloween is fun and it's a great time, but just don't be silly with it. Don't go out spreading the virus. It's still growing here in the UK, it's still spreading a lot. Maybe we'll push Halloween back by 6 months and just celebrate it, hopefully at a time when it's safer, and then we can have loads of fun. Yeah, so I think that's enough of me awkwardly rambling, and I'll get into the actual episode now. So, hello, welcome. This is the history portion of the episode. I've actually been thinking about doing there's a little series that I have planned for the podcast, but I just need to do some actual research into it before I start. But I want to do like a feminists through history, or just not even feminists, just like highlighting some really cool women who did some great things that maybe we don't talk about enough, or just, again, like as a history student, I kind of think that people know more than they do, just because to me it's something that I know. This sounds really elitist, but not in that kind of way. Just when you know something or you've known it for a while, then you kind of just maybe assume that it would have been common knowledge, and that's how you know it, until you realise that maybe it isn't. So maybe I'll help it to become common knowledge. But yeah, like I said earlier, for this little history bit, I thought I would talk about witches and witchcraft a little bit. Again, nothing too historical or anything. Still in keeping with the Halloweeny thing. I don't have too much to say, other than, so obviously witches were primarily women. They were mostly women. It was women who was accused the most of being witches, but there were cases of men who were accused of witchcraft and who were killed for it. I don't have my history notes with me in front. Like, I think they're still at my mum's house from A-level, so I can't tell you the specifics. I'm so sorry. I can try and get my notes up on my phone. But there was a guy in England, can't remember his name. He was accused of witchcraft, and he refused to admit that he did, because, I mean, he didn't. And oh, sorry, I'm scrolling. That's philosophy. That's not history. Yeah, so he refused to admit that he practiced witchcraft because he didn't, and they ended up killing him. They pressed stones on him until he died because he just completely refused to admit. Oh, my phone's crashed. Okay. Either way. So, yeah, basically there were men who also practiced witchcraft, who were accused of practicing witchcraft, but mostly it was women. The idea of the cat was because they had these familiars, which were basically, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe I shouldn't be saying this if I can't remember if I'm right, but from what I can remember, the idea of a familiar was that a witch could turn into an animal, and therefore kind of hide if people came around to try and find her, or him, but mostly her. So which is kind of where we get the idea of like the witch having a cat with her, also just being able to turn people into animals themselves and everything. But then the main thing I kind of had to say on this topic was just the reason that they have. First of all, right, so when I was talking to my mum about this, she said, why are... because she was talking to my little brother, and I think she said about him dressing up as a witch, and he was like, no, witches are girls. And I was like, actually, no, they weren't. Like, they were, but they were also men. And then, because Mum was like, well, I guess it would be a wizard. And then she was like, what's the difference? And I said, well, I mean, this could be wrong. This is pure speculation, just based on what I know from the history and everything. But to me, and for my interpretation, witches are seen as evil. Wizards are not. Wizards, in my mind, were created as something fictional, something fantasy, something that I don't think anyone ever properly believed in the way that witchcraft had a whole cult around it and a whole craze that swept throughout Europe, killing so many people. Europe, and to be honest, elsewhere. You know, look at Salem. So, like, I think that's the difference for me, which is kind of typical. And then over time, because witchcraft in that time period was mostly associated with women, a witch has come to mean a female who practices magic, but is more typically seen as something scary. Like, you know, you don't see many kids dressing up as wizards for Halloween, because wizards aren't seen as something that's supposed to be that scary compared to witches. But yeah, I don't think that wizards were ever something that was believed in and like persecuted or prosecuted as much. Like, I don't think there was this whole cult of like, this is a danger to our society, we need to like kill them, in the same way that witchcraft was so feared that people would use torture to get a confession out of them, to give them the justification to punish them or to kill them for their crime, in inverted commas. And then, yeah, when I was talking to my mum, I just started spouting off random facts about witches. Big flex. And I was saying about how I just said, hey mum, do you know why witches rode on broomsticks? Because talking about the male witches just prompted this memory that I had. And she was like, no, why do they? So the male witches would ride on pitchforks, actually, because it was seen that the male job was down in the fields. And so their primary like work tool would be a pitchfork, because they did all the agriculture. And so women had a broomstick, these female witches, because their work would be in the home, and so like cleaning and sweeping and everything would mean that a broom would be their like primary domestic work tool, which is why they had those, because it was thought that they would take their brooms and fly to these like into the woods to have orgies, basically, which, I mean, I think it was supposed to be orgies with the devil, like they would summon the devil and then all have sex with him, but like, let's be sex positive. And also the idea that these women were all just like leaving their husbands and sleeping together is iconic and should be something that's celebrated now. Maybe we should honour the tradition of witchcraft on Halloween and just let a bunch of women sleep together. I mean, we should do that every day, but iconic. So yeah, that's why witches flew on broomsticks, and, well, female witches flew on broomsticks. That's where the stereotype of witches on broomsticks comes from. And men flew on pitchforks, who knew? And yeah, they would basically fly into the woods, they would have these orgies, they would summon the devil, they would get possessed. There's a scene from a movie that our teacher at A-level used to play for us all the time, and I cannot for the life of me remember what movie it is, but it was about witchcraft, and they basically went into this forest and they started doing this like ritual, and they would all get naked and they were like killing chickens, and they were all being supposedly like possessed and acting absolutely crazy. So, you know, it was obviously a terrifying time to be alive for women, because anyone could be accused. And it turned out that like, so there was a huge case in England, one of our biggest cases. I think it was like the Pendle witch trials. This is stretching my mind back nearly 2 years now. Well, it is 2 years since I started learning all of this. But basically, I'm going to say it's the Pendle witch trials. I'm going to try and scroll and find, but for the meantime, that's what we're going to call it. It basically was just a huge, like, these families just didn't like each other, so they all just started accusing each other of witchcraft, and they ended up all getting, I think they all got in trouble for it, and, like, they were arrested and possibly killed. They were kept in, like, these prison cells that were just horrifically bad. I don't think they were really fed properly, and some of them died in there because just like malnutrition and ill health and just staying in this damp, like no air coming through, very not healthy. Oh, no, that was just a different thing. I thought I found the name of the guy, of the male witch who refused to admit that he was a witch because he wasn't a witch. Witches don't exist. Sorry, Mum. I know you very much believe in witches. My mum thinks she is a witch, which is fun for her, I guess. I'm sorry, Mum. Don't hate me. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. It probably would have been easier just to Google the Pendle witch trials, wouldn't it? But anyway, I think that's what it was. So it would be basically if anything happened. Oh, I think I was right. I was. Wow, that's so interesting. Cool. Yeah, I aced my A-level. Yes, it was a Pendle Witch Trials. It was up in Lancaster in the early 1600s. But yeah, it was all just a big family accusation, and so if anything bad happened in your village, if there was a disease, if livestock started going weird, if someone just, like, up and died for seemingly no reason, anyone could be accused of witchcraft, and it was taken so seriously, and the evidence for it was ridiculous. And it was just this whole craze. There were theories, for, like... No, I don't know if I remember enough to go into that, because there were theories about, like, midwives and it trying to kind of be the suppression of women, but I don't remember enough about it, and I'm also pretty sure that I debunked that kind of at A-level, so I'm not going to go into that. Maybe I'll do that another time if people want to hear about it more, and I'll go and brush up on my notes. But I feel like that is it for the history part of the episode. Although I will say, actually, I was going to say not many. So obviously the typical witch thing is that they were burned at the stake. That's not always the case. In, like, Salem especially, no one was burned at the stake. Very few people. In England, it was illegal to use torture or anything here. Tended to be hanging. There were different methods used in different countries. Like, Germany had different methods to a lot of other places. It wasn't Germany at the time, it was the Holy Roman Empire. But where Germany now is. But yeah, just for your own knowledge, I guess. Being burned at the stake wasn't actually as common as you think, and it's just become the accepted fate of the witches, but it wasn't always. So yeah, that's fun. So I thought then I would now go into just kind of normal episode format of just talking about now, just leave the past in the past. I just thought I'd give you some nice history facts to debunk. Well, you didn't debunk them, I did, but yeah. So obviously Halloween is typically a night where people go out, people dress up, like, you know, you dress up as a kid and you go out trick-or-treating with your parents, or when you may be slightly older, just some friends, and then when you're kind of, you know, so I'm going to say, like, my age, 18, for argument's sake. I'm not 18, but, like, I'm going to say from 18 on, from the legal age, you will start having parties, just becomes a night out, basically, go clubbing, whatever. But the idea has become, over time, that on Halloween, you don't dress scary anymore like you did when you were a kid. You dress, for lack of a better term, slutty. Promiscuously. You know? You wear something that, you know, push your boobs up, wear something really short, look sexy, look your best life. We don't subscribe to the term slutty because we are sex positive. And you can sleep with whoever you want to, as long as it's consensual, as long as it's safe. Go for it. Like, I love it. We should be accepting this more. But yeah, basically, if you didn't know, now you know. That's what Halloween is obviously kind of for. However, I have a couple points on this. First of all, my sister messaged me because I put something on my Instagram and I said, like, if there's anything specific you want me to cover about Halloween, cool. And I'm going to get her message up just to make sure I don't, like, I mean, I know what the gist of it is anyway. But she basically just responded and said, if you want to dress sexy for Halloween, then, like, do it. Don't do it for the attention of men. Do it for you. You know, like, if it's going to make you feel so great and it helps your self-confidence so much, like, 1000% do it. Then she also said, P.S. I'm a mouse. Duh. Because Mean Girls is an iconic movie and we all love it. But, like, I mean, that's such an important point, and I think that's relevant to just, like, forever, to be honest, is, like, don't ever do anything for the attention of a man or just someone that you are attracted to or whatever. Like, do things because they make you feel great. And I've said it before, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I will say it until the end of time. Putting on a pair of high heels just makes me feel so powerful. I don't know what it is, but just putting it on makes me feel like I'm ready to take on the world. Like, I can do anything I want. it makes me feel so empowered, so strong, so like I'm about to be CEO of this bitch. And I really, like, it's such a mindset change, and it's weird. But it truly is. And I think whenever, like, you know, if I'm going out and I'm wearing something that is a bit more, I don't know what the right term is to use. Is it promiscuous? I don't know, but something that's slightly more revealing or whatever. It is a sense of empowerment, and it's like, wow, I look great, and I look great for myself, and I feel great because I feel great because I look great, but just dressing to empower yourself. And I also just think I don't know, I feel great because I look like I feel comfortable. I don't know, it's just such a chance, and it really does empower you. And I think, you know, like, I literally responded to my sister and I just said, like, preach it. She's so right. Don't do it for a guy, and don't let anyone also tell you, oh, you dress like a slut, stop it. Like, do it for yourself. It doesn't mean that anyone is entitled to anything based on the way that you dress. It's all for you. If you want to do it and just dress up in your best Halloween outfit, or any outfit, to be honest, and just sit in your living room on a sofa watching TV, go for it. Like, if that's what empowers you, that's what empowers you. And no one should be allowed to dictate that. And there has been a massive wave lately, actually, in, like, women just wearing lingerie to work, just under their clothes, rather than just their standard, like, t-shirt, bra, and regular cotton thong or whatever. They'll put something on that's a little bit more, like, lingerie, a little bit more fancy, just because, like, no one else has to know, but they know, and it kind of does empower, and it kind of just makes you feel, I guess, more in control of, like, I've chosen to wear this, no one else knows that I'm wearing this, but I know, and I'm in control of who knows. And it just kind of puts you, like, in that mindset, it kind of puts you above, and it's a great thing. So also, yeah, start wearing lingerie to work under your clothes in a way that no one will know, because, I mean, for many workplaces, it probably isn't appropriate to go around, you know, if you work with kids, maybe don't, like, have it on show, but I love that so much. And I think, similarly, I was at work yesterday, and we were just talking about Halloween or whatever, and someone that I work with said, like, yeah, but Halloween, like, girls don't dress scary on Halloween now, they just use it as an excuse to dress really slutty. Which, like, sure, I mean, it was kind of turned around on them. Someone was like, oh yeah, sure, because you don't do the same thing, which was funny. It wasn't necessarily meant to be, like, harmful, but it just made me think a bit, and it was just like, okay, even if we ignore everything we just said about doing it for yourself and whatever, why do we limit it to this one night a year? Like, we feel like society tells us for this one night we're allowed to dress slightly more revealing, you know, allowed to show our bodies off a little bit more, be proud of ourselves in the way that we look a little bit more. I mean, supposed to be for the attention of guys, but we're not doing it for the attention of guys. But why do we limit it to this one day a year? Why does society tell us that it's only okay for this one day a year to dress like this, when we should be able to do it whenever we want? And we shouldn't have society or men or anyone tell us on any, like, you know, just a regular club night any other day of the year, oh, you can't wear that, that's a bit too revealing. Why not? If you feel comfortable doing it, if it's in an appropriate situation, if you're following the law, I guess. Nudity is against the law, I believe. Public nudity. You know, go for it. I don't think that we should be limited to this one night to be allowed to feel like that's when we can express ourselves and that's when we can dress in that way that we want, when there are 365 days of the year, and we shouldn't suppress or oppress, I don't really know what the difference is between those two words, but we shouldn't not let ourselves dress the way that we want for 364 of them, if that's how we want to dress. I don't think it's okay at all that we are supposed to just have the one day we're just supposed to have Halloween, and that's our excuse to dress up as slutty, because we don't need an excuse. We can own our own sexuality and the way that we look, and we can do it all in 6-inch heels and crush the people that try to oppose us, because that is power. So yeah, someone said that at work yesterday, and it just made me think a little bit, and I don't like the idea that we can only do it on that one day. And I mean, even like, so at Exeter Uni, when COVID doesn't happen, I can't speak for other unis, because obviously I've only ever been to Exeter, so this might be a nationwide thing. But about this time of year, early term 1, we have a safe sex ball, which is basically just a night out to raise awareness for safe sex and like the idea of consent and all of that. And typically, worn to the safe sex ball is you basically do just wear lingerie out for the night, which is iconic, and I love the whole concept of it. I think it's great. But it's kind of another example of, for this one night, because you're raising awareness, then you can wear this stuff. When really, like, you should be able to whenever. You shouldn't be judged for it. Like, I don't know, it just really bothers me, the idea that there's, like, a select few nights of the year when it's appropriate. Because it's appropriate whenever the hell you want it to be appropriate. At the end of the day, if you're going to a club, like, anything goes, really. And you shouldn't feel judged for it. And you should feel, as long as you feel comfortable and you feel empowered, freaking go for it. I'm so here for it. I will support you. I will hype you up, because I love it. So, get your best outfit for Halloween. Sit in your living room, because we can't go out because Rona. Put on some music. Have a freaking boogie. And enjoy the day. And then November 1st, do the same thing. March 15th, do the same thing. Try to pluck a random day out of my head that was just far away from Halloween. Do it whenever the freaking hell you feel like it. I don't know why I'm saying freaking. This is not a censored podcast, but do it whenever you want. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And if they do, turn around, stick a middle finger up at them, tell them, fuck you. You do not control how I feel, what I wear, or anything about me. And have an even better night just to piss them off. And I think that's basically the gist of this episode. It's a slightly shorter episode than normal. I didn't have a lot to talk about because it's Halloween. I haven't really been out on Halloween before. I would have this year, but obviously Rona, so I can't. So yeah, like, I don't have a lot to speak about, but maybe next year I'll have more. Who knows? I'm hoping the podcast will still exist by this time next year. So hopefully by then I'll have more to talk about. If you have anything that you want to add, feel free to message us. The Instagram is @theaveragefempod. So I don't think I need to spell it out, but it's like the average fem, as in FEM, as in short for feminist, and then pod, POD, as in short for podcast. Or you can email us, which is theaveragefeministpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, so please go and follow us over on Instagram. If you have anything you want to add, feel free to message. Like I said, I sent out a poll yesterday to ask when this episode was wanted, so if you want to kind of be involved, there have been, like, you can suggest episodes on there quite a lot of the time, just for me to put on the list. What else have I done on there? Just lots of random things, to be honest. I share a lot of accounts on there and a lot of, like, video recommendations or just positive people to follow. You get mini rants about things that happen in my life that I'm fed up with, about men, and just want to bitch about a little bit. So yeah, go to the Instagram. It's a really fun time, and I don't want to jinx it too much, but we are now just over 100 followers, which I'm really excited about. I haven't posted anything on the Instagram yet to be like thanks, because I'm really scared that it's gonna go back under, and then I'm gonna look a little bit silly, which I'm now doing in this permanent podcast episode, which is great. But if you want to go and follow just to boost it back over 100, like fairly solidly, so I can celebrate that, thanks, I'd appreciate it. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, please. It does help to boost the algorithm and get the episode out to more people. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review and tell us why you enjoyed the episode. I don't know why I say us, it's just me. Hello. Tell me why you enjoyed this episode in particular or any other episodes. Is that all of my admin done? Yeah, I think so, possibly. So in that case, have a nice week. I will see you soon. And have a happy Halloween. Dress to your heart's content. I cannot wait to see it. Please tag me or just send them to me. I want to see everyone living their best lives. Okay, thanks. Bye.